The Premier League goes goal crazy. VAR is at it again. Lewandowski is on fire. We've got a news roundup and Emoji Mondays all coming up in the next few minutes as I'm your host, Matt Froelich. You are the Onefootballers and this is the Daily News. So starting off and with the goal crazy Premier League this weekend, which started on Friday night with the equaling record victory in the Premier League as Leicester absolutely hammered Southampton 9-0. I can't even describe how ridiculous this game was, and it's not even from Leicester's side. Yes, they scored 9 goals and they had a ridiculously high conversion rate with the amount of shots they had to the amount of goals that they scored. The amount of shots they had is nothing out of the ordinary. Top teams, especially in the Premier League and all over Europe, have multiple shots per game. If they all went in, there'd be so many more 9-0s, 10-0s, 11-2s, whatever you like. But it wasn't that Leicester was so clinical, it was that Southampton was so poor. So many of the goals, they didn't even get near to the Leicester players to put in a tackle, never mind being weak in the tackle. It was a really shocking performance for them. But elsewhere, Chelsea managed to bag 4 goals away from home again. Christian Pulisic getting a hat-trick in what was another fantastic victory for Frank Lampard's Chelsea away at Burnley. City and Sterling were back in the goals, a fantastic second half display as they put Villa away despite going down to 10 men. Brighton scored 3 goals at home for the second time in a row after beating Spurs 3-0. They beat Everton 3-2 with a last-minute own goal. And talking of Tottenham, well, they lost at Anfield as you'd expect, but things weren't so bad as they were narrowly edged out by Liverpool 2-1. In fact, it could have actually been a lot more. Having said that, Gazzaniga was amazing in goal for Spurs, recording 12 saves, the most by any goalkeeper since David De Gea about 4 years ago. This is exactly what I was saying about the Leicester game. If Liverpool had been far more clinical in their finishing, it probably could have been like 12-13-1. That's obviously very unheard of, but it just goes to show that Leicester had one of those evenings where every single shot just went into the back of the net. They were brilliant, not taking anything away from them. They were fantastic. And to top it all off, there were even more goals. There should have been more goals for Manchester United as they beat Norwich 3-1 in a game where they missed 2 penalties. Thankfully, it didn't really matter too much in the end for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So we will speak a little bit more about the weekend's Premier League, but first, let's move into all the nonsense about VAR. So, of course, there was loads of VAR controversy over the weekend, but this time it was because they were actually going against the referees. In the previous game weeks, it was clear that VAR weren't willing to make the referee look stupid and overturn his decision no matter how bad it was. But this weekend, they've done the complete opposite. United's first penalty was never a penalty. Daniel James just kind of fell into the defender, but then it was overturned. The same thing goes at Brighton, where Michael Keane accidentally trod on Connolly's foot. That was given as a penalty as well. At Arsenal, it was even more ridiculous. The referee initially gave Wilfried Zaha a yellow card for diving. It was then turned around. The yellow card, was rescinded. Callum Chambers then got the yellow card and a penalty was given to Crystal Palace. It's not about whether it's the right decision or not, it's about backing the referee. If VAR are going to overturn the ref, you might as well just get rid of him. You might as well just have the game refereed from that van or sporting park or wherever they are, looking at 1,000,001 screens. Just makes no sense. As for the goal that was overturned at the end for Socrates' second of the match to make it 3-2 to Arsenal, it's absolutely ridiculous that that goal wasn't given. Apparently Chambers fouled a few players when it was an absolute goal-mouth scramble and it eventually fell to the defender and he scored. It's just so harsh. But on top of all of this, we're moving away from the Premier League because the most ridiculous VAR decision of the weekend goes to the Bundesliga 2. That is the second league in Germany, where in a game between Kiel and Bochum, the Bochum striker ran through. He had a shot, he completely scuffed it. It fell to the side of the goal, and one of the substitutes stuck his foot out to stop the ball. It was about this far in, so not only was VAR consulted about the substitute touching the ball, also, the rule is that if that happens, a penalty is given to the other team. Now, I've no doubt that this was brought up in discussion between the referees. Of course, when they have this meeting, get together, discuss how VAR and how all the rules are going to be used, they've got to bring up all sorts of eventualities. What happens if this happens? What happens if this happens? And so on and so forth. So when someone said, what happens if a substitute accidentally or maybe on purpose touches the ball, why on earth would you give a penalty? This is where common sense has to come into play. Yes, I completely understand that a sub can't run on and smash the ball away when the player is running through. I get that. The ball was dragged wide. It's clearly going out for a goal kick. No one's got anything to say about it. And the fact that VAR had to then go and check just how close it was to going out of play shows you that the decision really wasn't affecting anybody. The substitute just stuck his foot out to maybe get the game going again a little bit quicker. It really was so unnecessary. I mean, the penalty was put away and they still didn't win, so maybe justice was served. But talking of German football and moving on to the Bundesliga, where Robert Lewandowski surely is the best number 9 in world football at the moment. There's just no argument against him. He scored in the 2-1 victory over Union Berlin, making sure that he smashed the record for consecutive goals scored in 9 games. Since the start of the season, he has scored in every single match, and a few more to boot, meaning he has 13 in the opening 9 rounds of the Bundesliga. He's still got a few more to go to beat Jamie Vardy's scoring record in the Premier League of 11, but I'm pretty sure he's going to do it. There's just not a goal scorer in as good a form as Lewandowski is, and he's making a late charge for the Ballon d'Or, potentially. You guys let me know in the comment section down below. But one goal scorer who wasn't on the goal sheet was Cristiano Ronaldo. Maurizio Sarri, he's looking pretty foolish. He decided to rest Ronaldo over the weekend, and whatever you say, there is no doubt in my mind that he rested Ronaldo because he thought Lecce were a poor team. Yes, they are a poor team, but it serves him right. He rested Ronaldo thinking he could get the result, and he didn't. Juve struggling to draw 1-1. So now we come to a quick roundup of the rest of the day's news/transfer news, where Southampton players and coaches, after that shocking 9-0 loss, have decided to donate a day's wage to charity. I'm not quite sure how that's going to solve their problems on the pitch, but it's a very nice gesture. Anyway, Mauro Icardi said in an interview after PSG's fantastic 4-0 win over Marseille that this is the greatest team he's ever played in. Massive shots fired at his parent club, Inter Milan. Steve Bruce is willing to bring in Reece James on loan from Chelsea as the Newcastle boss looks for a new right back. And Gareth Bale has refused to allow the hospital to release reports on his latest injury, fearing that it will put clubs off signing him in January. So next up, we look back at your Friday feels. For those of you who left your weekend's footballing predictions on the comment section on Friday's Daily News. MRR guessed that Dortmund against Schalke would finish 0-0, which it did. Adam de Ryan guessed that Liverpool would beat Spurs 2-1, which happened yesterday in an enthralling encounter at Anfield. And Raki Kumar had an unbelievably correct prediction. I really hope you put some money on it, because Immobile to score, Correa to score, and Lazio to win all happened. They managed a fantastic 2-1 victory away at Fiorentina. So congrats to you guys and to everyone else who managed to get their Friday Feels prediction correct. So now we move on, last but not least, to Emoji Monday, where we throw some emojis down on some of the best and worst players of the weekend. For me, this week, the best player has to go to Ben Chilwell. As we mentioned before, the Southampton-Leicester game, the 9-0, he was stunning from left back. 2 assists, a goal, and just constantly marauding down that left-hand side. Southampton could not deal with the English fullback. As for the worst player, it would have been easy to go for the Southampton keeper, but I'm not going for that. I'm going for Granit Xhaka. Now, to hear my thoughts on that and a more in-depth analysis of the rest of the weekend's football, you can check out our Monday show this evening, during which we will discuss loads of the topics that you guys are giving in the community tab. But Granit Xhaka, poor performance, and then when he got subbed off, having a go at the fans, throwing his shirt off, all sorts, and he's supposed to be Arsenal captain. He's my worst player of the weekend. As for the best result, of course, smashing Southampton 9-0. Fantastic win for Leicester. I've spoken about it so much, but it's just so unusual. Fantastic result for them, and there you have my Emoji Mondays. So that's all from me for today. As mentioned before, make sure you check out our new show on a Monday evening where we discuss the weekend's football. Let me know your thoughts on the daily news in the comment section and click here or here to check out all of the other videos we've got going on Onefootball. But until next time, I will see you guys later.